In the last video, I've done the first mod to what once was the ugliest Honda Civic in the UK. I fitted a new bumper, splitter and grille, new mirrors, new rear lights, bird poo. And in today's video, I'm going to be getting rid of that arch gap because that is unacceptable. I truly believe if I wanted to, I could roll this car in a straight line. Look at the body roll. And that ain't even me exaggerating it. And I think it's about time we got rid of those wheel trims. By the end of this video, it's going to look like a completely different car. Let's get my dad's E36 out the way so I can pull the Civic into the unit. And a little red line never hurt anyone, right? Well, other than my engine, but that's getting changed anyway. This arch gap is unacceptable. I could almost fit my head in there. And here's the solution to fix that. KW coilovers. And I didn't fancy paying £1,000 for coilovers, so yes, these are second hand with brand new adjusters and shocks, but the springs need a bit of love. So I started to take all of the springs off. Now you should probably use spring clamps when taking top mounts off, but I've always done it this way and I've never had any issues until later on in the video, where you'll soon see why people tell you to use spring clamps. Let's get them all boxed up so I can take them to get powder coated. The springs are back from being powder coated. How much better do they look? Let's get the coilovers back together and get them put on the car. And when I was putting these back together, I made a pretty big mistake, which you'll see later on in the video. Now I'll be honest, this is the first time I've done coilovers completely unsupervised, but I want to learn how to build a car from scratch completely by myself. The front suspension was held in by one bolt at the bottom and two at the top. And that's the first one off, as easy as that. Now I've just got to tighten all of the top mounts. Now all you need is some mole grips with a microfiber just to stop the shock from spinning whilst you do it up. Now the most important thing with coilovers is you need to make sure that they're all adjusted to the same height. And by that I mean the fronts need to be the same and the rears need to be the same as each other. When you first fit coilovers, it is a complete guess to what height you put it at. What I normally do is put them near to the bottom because I like my car to be fairly low, and then you can adjust it from there if you need to go up or down. And I've never seen coilovers like this before. They had a little grub screw that went into the adjuster, so when it was tight it stopped it from spinning. Usually these coilovers will have a second collar which you spin up to the other one, which will lock them tight, so that's something new. Now I've just got to put the fork onto the bottom of the coilover, and it's time to put it back in with the help of Carl's size 14 hoops.
That's all I've got.
But then I soon reached my first problem. I've just measured the size of this part compared to the standard top mount, and the standard top mount is quite a bit smaller. So I bought these off a guy that told me they're off a Civic, but there was never any proof. So I am hoping that if I change these top mounts over, that these are going to fit. I suppose it's time to find out. So I took the top mount off the coilover to swap it with the one off the standard suspension. And as I was doing so, I found out why people always tell me to use spring clamps. So I've changed the top mount over. It's time for the moment of truth. Get in. Yes, boys. We've got, hang on, let me get these bolts on. Get in. After changing the top mount, the coilovers fit. I am buzzing. But there's no time to celebrate. I've got the rest of the car to do. And before I put the wheel back on, I'm going to paint the calipers. This is such an easy mod for you guys to do to your cars, and it makes such a big difference. So I covered everything I didn't want to paint with some bubble wrap. And then I used the wire brush to get any loose dirt off the caliper. And make sure you buy aerosol caliper paint because doing it with a brush sucks. And after about 3 coats, it's done. Now it's time for the exciting part. Now at the start of the video, I told you I've got new wheels for the Civic. It's time to show you all what I bought. Ooh. What do you all think? They're called rotor slips, and I saw them on quite a few Civics before buying mine and thought they were one of the best looking wheels you can get for them. So I've just reached another issue. Let me explain. These wheel nuts don't sit in the hole of the wheels. So I've done a little bit of research and I found out how to fix it. And I'm going to teach you all because at the end of the day, I want this channel to be somewhere that we can all learn. So I need something called tuner nuts. Now what they are, they're basically nuts that will seat properly in aftermarket wheels. Now I found them on Amazon for 23 quid. So I'll get these ordered. I'll put the wheels on when they arrive. And also, I'm not sure on the black on black, but I'll get it on the floor, see how it looks. But I think that these will be going a different colour. Let me know in the comments if you think I should keep them black or if I should try a different colour. If so, what colour do you think I should do them? The bolts were much tighter this side, but with a little bit of persuasion they came loose. My best advice to you all is make sure you watch a YouTube tutorial on how to fit coilovers to your car before trying it. It just makes it so much easier, and if there's any hidden tricks, they'll teach you without you having to find out the hard way. That's that side out. Now I've just got to change the top mounts over, and after last time I've done a little bit of research and Google said that you can use cable ties as spring clamps. Now I don't know how true that is, but we're now going to find out. Yep, cheers for that one, Google. And this is how it should come apart. And the reason I didn't do that on the standard one was because I couldn't get the mole grips on anywhere and I haven't got any spring clamps, so sometimes you just got to send it. Let's get this side back together and give the caliper a quick lick of paint. So that's the front's done, and I think I might have lowered it a little bit too much. I'm hoping that when I lower the rear, it's going to pull the front up a bit, because at the moment that bumper does not stand a chance. It's time to smash out the rears. That doesn't sound too great, does it? It's time to get the rears done. That sounds better. Then I've got a surprise for you all. I say it's a surprise. You should all be able to work out what it is. The Ugliest dead. If this is what life was like before Ugliest, I'm so glad I weren't there to experience it. So I'm going to spray the bolt with some lube. I didn't do this on the front and I got lucky, and I'm not risking it on the rear. Please don't break. Whew, thank God for that. Honestly, tell me your heart didn't just drop, but luckily it was just a ratchet slipping. And the rear is just as easy as the front. You've got a bolt at the bottom of the shock, a bolt at the top where the camber arm goes to, and then just 2 bolts in the boot for the top mount. And then you can take the shock out. Now I've just got to adjust them to make sure they're exactly the same height. Spot on. And it's time to put it back in. And it goes without saying, if you do this yourself, just make sure you do everything up tight and you'll be fine. Just treat it as if you'll be the next person undoing that bolt, and trust me, you won't do it half as tight as you normally would. And before I put the wheel on, I'm just going to give the drum a quick freshen up. Don't worry, the drums won't be here forever. At some point I will be doing a rear disc conversion on this car. They're not perfect, but I think that's as good as they're going to look. And just like that, I'm on to the last corner. At the time is now 7:15 and it's still light out. I am buzzing for summer. Anyway, let's talk about summer. I've got a Honda to finish. I'm getting a bit too good at this now. But all jokes aside, I think this is the most perfect car I could have fitted my first set of coilovers to. It is so easy. The thing with coilovers is it's not fitting them that's usually the hard bit. It's bolts breaking and things not coming undone that make coilovers miserable to do. But luckily, the Honda has been spot on. Finally, it's all done. The whole car will need adjusting properly, but I'm not going to do that until I put the new wheels on, which I'll be putting on the second those wheel nuts arrive. The 2 new wheel nuts are here. Don't worry, no fish will hurt in the making of this video. So the wheels aren't perfect, but until I decide what colour I want to do them, I've got a solution. And yeah, that solution may or may not have been a Sharpie. That's the cheapest refurb I've ever had. But all jokes aside, if I decide to keep these wheels black, I will be getting them done again. But before I put them on the car, I think it would be rude not to give them a clean. And they look so much better now they're clean. Oh, and don't mind my brother's M3, that's just having some new drop links fitted. One day I will learn to put the Ugliest on charge. And before I put the new wheels on, there's just one more finishing touch I want to do. I'm really not sure if I like them. I don't know if I'm going to keep them on or not. And you're all not even going to believe this. So the wheels are all on, but I've hit a bit of an issue. And that noise is the back of the wheel hitting the suspension. And all I need to fix that are a set of wheel spacers, which will space the wheel out just enough to clear the suspension. And until I get those wheel spacers, this car can't go anywhere. So I'm back with a pair of wheel spacers, but they're off a Mini Cooper. Now, Google said they should fit, so let's find out. Now, I hear quite a few negative comments about wheel spacers. I have ran them on every single one of my cars, and I have never had an issue. As long as you do them up as tight as a wheel nut, you'll be absolutely fine.
They're tight.
And I don't know about you lot, but I'd say a 20mm spacer was a pretty spot on guess.
So there we are. Mini Cooper spacers will fit on a Civic. And I'm gonna say that this is literally perfect, but until I move it, I ain't gonna find that out. So let's get the other side done.
With a bit of YouTube magic, the other side's on.
Wheel spacers are another cheap mod that makes such a massive difference. Just make sure that you buy the right ones for your car. I think it's safe to say that I definitely need to get a pair for the back. Where's the wheel gone? Hello? Hello? But before I pull this outside, there's one more mod I've got to do. In the last video, I was going to put a spoiler on the Civic, and I wasn't sure if I preferred it with or without it. So I left it up to you guys in the comments to decide which one I should do. And I think it's safe to say I had a pretty clear winner. That's right, most of you decided for me to go with the wing, so let's get it on. And I'm sorry to all the people that voted for me not to have a wing, but I'm a man to my word, and the wing was a clear winner.
And luckily I've still got the template from where I was going to drill the holes in the last video.
There ain't no going back now.
Honestly, what is it with me and batteries dying? So my dad came to the rescue with this big mama drill bit. That is the face of a concentrated man. The funny thing is this boot was freshly smoothed when I had the car resprayed, and now I'm drilling holes in it again. But it's what you guys wanted. It's the moment of truth. Are you ready?
I'm still not decided. This is for you guys.
It wasn't the wing that I didn't like, it was the brake light. So I covered it with a bit of tape to see if it looked any better without it.
So much better. And it's now time to find out if I've lowered it too much to get it out of the unit. Mission success. Don't worry, I can't believe it's the same car either. I can't believe how good it looks. And since covering the brake light on the spoiler, I love the wing so much. It's literally crazy the difference that coilovers and wheels make to a car. But this video ain't just about making the Civic look better, I've also hopefully made it drive better. But before I drive it, it's gonna need an alignment.
And on the way to getting it aligned, this happened.
Well, it was worth a try. I thought it was going to be too low, but after driving it, it's definitely catching on the arch. So yeah, let's raise it up.
I think this has got to be the first time that I've raised coilovers up, and I don't know how I feel about it. This car isn't supposed to be a stance car. It's supposed to be a bit more of like a track car kind of look. I also noticed the under tray was broken and hanging off, so I just took it off.
Hopefully, it now shouldn't rub. Let's go find out. It sounds positive. I think I might have spoke too soon. See, now I'm just confused. Both sides are adjusted to exactly the same height, but the left side's rubbing and the right side isn't.
And at this point, all fingers are pointing at me fitting something wrong. Now, do you remember at the start of the video when I was putting the coilovers together, I told you that I made a huge mistake? Now, what I had done is I had put one of the rear springs on the front coilover and one of the front coilover springs on the rear. Now, it's easily done because they look exactly the same, just the rears were 0.5 mil thinner. And the front will have a different spring rate to the rear, which explains why the front left was rubbing and why it was so much lower than the front right. So it was a really easy mistake to make. So I swapped the springs over and made sure that they were both exactly the same height. And this was the first time that I've probably seen the underneath of the Civic, and thank God it looks really clean. Now that's fixed, it's time to get it on the floor to take it for its first drive.
So I've now been to 2 garages and both of them have said it's too low to be tracked, so I'm gonna have to come back to that. But it's about time I took it for a drive to see how much better it feels. It isn't rubbing anymore, which is a bonus. It feels so much more planted. And considering the tracking hasn't been done, it actually drives pretty straight, so that's a bonus. It feels so much better. Before it was so boaty, it literally feels like a different car. Coilovers are the best mod you can do to your car, honestly. I think it'd be rude not to celebrate with a little bit of limiter. I'm really starting to like this car, man. So yeah, I had a couple of hiccups fitting him, but I think it's safe to say that that is a mission success. Look at the body roll.
So the Civic has had another huge transformation, and I don't know about you guys, but I think it's starting to look really cool.
I'm really undecided on the black wheels, so let me know in the comments what colour you think I should do them, or if I should just leave them black. And don't worry, I haven't forgot about the rear. It definitely needs spacers. It looks so much better, but it's nowhere near done. I need to get the front bumper, splitter, wing mirrors and spoiler painted. I should probably put a number plate on it, even though it looks so good without one. And I've got a new engine to go in it. But the next thing on the list is to sort this interior out, because it is disgusting. So there's going to be plenty more videos on the Honda. So if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you smash the like button. And boys and girls, I'm really trying to make something out of this YouTube thing. So please hit the subscribe button. You're all legends. Peace.
With